Hey, welcome to Boundaries Unleashed, the podcast that helps recovering people pleasers like yourself set soul aligned boundaries, stop abandoning yourself, and finally do the things that you're meant to do without the guilt, without the self sabotage, and without the energetic burnout. So, I'm your host, Vicki Pittman, tarot loving, spirit guided boundaries coach, and this is your personal permission slip to stop betraying your own magic and stop feeling like it is your job to make everyone else feel comfortable. And today's episode is all about this sneaky boundary issue that I know you've dealt with before. And it's about why it's so easy to keep the promises we make to other people, but it becomes so hard to keep the promises we make to ourselves. And that the book we said we start, that workout regimen we said we start on Monday, the rest we swore that we'd take, that boundary we said we were finally going to start and actually uphold, and we end up ghosting ourselves. We end up never following through. So let's talk about it. Now, when we hear the word boundaries, we often think about it in the context of saying no to other people. But personal boundaries is not just what you say to other people, it's what you say to yourself and whether or not you honor it. So it's the you who says, I'm not going to check email after 7 o'clock tonight. I'm finally going to take a solo weekend to myself. I'm going to stop saying yes to every request that comes in my inbox or over text message, especially the ones that make my stomach twist. These are the internal boundaries. These are the ones when we break them, it's really not about flakiness or lack of motivation or the will to follow through. It really goes deeper than that. And let's talk about why this happens. Why do we ghost ourselves? Why do we not keep the promises we make to ourselves? And it comes through three different ways. My affliction for three, so here we go. The first one being you were most likely conditioned to prioritize others, to prioritize other people. So if you grew up thinking or being raised as being the good girl or the helper, or, you're the responsible one, I don't have to worry about you, you were likely taught that your value came from what you did for other people or how you made other people feel relaxed, taken care of, not a burden. So if you grew up this way and you have conditioned yourself to that mindset of my value is from what I can give to other people, whatever that may look like, it can feel weird, it can feel odd when you actually try to prioritize yourself. When you actually try to do it, like taking a bath or, taking that nap you so desperately need, your nervous system actually will freak out. It will start to convince you that you're doing something wrong, that this is risky. You're basically your body is telling you, oh my gosh, you're risking the love that you're going to receive from other people because you're doing something for yourself as opposed to doing something for other people. Okay, your body's going to convince you and your mind is going to convince you that what you're doing is wrong. So if you've been conditioned, this is the likely scenario that's going to happen. For example, I had a client once, I remember she wanted to get into the habit of journaling, right? I work with women, I help them really enhance their relationship with their intuition. And so journaling was the medium at which she wanted to do that with. I'm like, great, cool, let's go. And she was like, I'm going to do it every day. And I'm like, okay, let me know how that works out for you. And so, the first day she woke up, journaled, all good. Second day was about 5 or 10 minutes into her journaling when her husband asked her for a favor real quick. The third day, she got an early email from her boss asking her to come in early or take care of something before she came into the office. And so it quickly went from, I'm going to be doing this every day, to other people constantly edging into her time and asking something of her. So her intention was to prioritize herself, but her wiring and conditioning led her to jump at these opportunities to provide assistance and help for other people because it gave her a sense of love. It gave her a sense of self-worth and belonging because she was able to help someone. She was able to do something for them. So, and I want to remind all of us, if you're listening to this, be like, but that's the kind thing to do. And yes, it is totally kind. We are all kind people. We like to help other people. It feels good to help other people. But when this becomes a pattern, when this becomes the default mode of operating, that's when it's tricky, right? Anything is possible, but when it comes to the detriment to your own well-being, when it comes to the detriment of your health, or even blocks your goals that you've set for yourself, it's a problem, okay? So my client in that scenario, she had to really rewire her brain. She had to really reset and reframe the mindset that, she can still help other people and she can prioritize exactly what she wanted to prioritize. Her worth wasn't tied to what she could do for others. In fact, helping herself was actually going to help other people more so in the long run. And it did. It did. So that's the first way that we may find why it's so hard to keep promises to ourselves. We've been conditioned to prioritize other people. Secondly, we don't want to disappoint people. We don't like people being mad at us. We don't like to let people down. Oh God, that is the worst, right? It's like you'd almost rather have someone be mad at you, but you don't want someone to be mad at you because you feel like you let them down. Like, oh, the psychological warfare there is just crazy, right? And so the issue here is we don't want to disappoint people, but we don't necessarily treat ourselves the same way as someone else, meaning we'd do everything in our power not to let someone else down. We'd find the motivation, we'd find the resources, we would make it happen, but we don't always extend that same energy to ourselves. So it's so much easier to break the promises to ourselves versus someone else, whether we care about them or even if we don't care about them. There's something about that like social, external, not letting other people down, but we're so quick to almost mean girl ourselves and just be like, I'm tough. It's fine. I'll do it next time, or I'll be able to journal tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes. Okay. We'll really bend over backwards. And it's not hard for us to do that for other people. In fact, it's very motivating to help someone out. But when we don't extend that same energy to ourselves, it's really easy to spiral into a lot of negative self-talk. It's really easy to blame yourself like, oh, man, I didn't journal today. Oh, I didn't get that workout today. I'm lazy. Oh, I'm so unmotivated. I suck. I'm a horrible person because I didn't do this. And it's really, we don't recognize that it's part of this conditioning, or it's part of this we're special, but in a way that doesn't support us. We are not special. We want to treat ourselves with the same love, respect, care, grace that we give other people. And so when this happens a lot, when we beat ourselves up, we really start creating this mindset that our needs aren't sacred. And that's really where self-sabotage will start to come in, right? The procrastination, the forgetfulness, the broken promises, this magical thinking that tomorrow is going to be better, or whatever we tell ourselves, right? That is one of the biggest reasons why we break our promises to ourselves. We don't extend the same grace to ourselves, right? We don't want to disappoint people, but we don't treat ourselves the same. Thirdly, we often want to wait for the quote unquote perfect time or energy. And when that doesn't arrive or it doesn't happen, we tend to give up. Say we wanted to go to the gym, we want to start this workout routine. Well, you're not always going to be motivated. So if you only went to the gym when you were motivated to work out, you probably wouldn't go very often, right? It's a lot of hard work. You get sweaty, you have to drive, you have to spend time and money and energy to do something. And so people pleasers, or people who identify as people pleasers, we tend to have perfectionist tendencies. We like to tell ourselves, if I can't do it right, I'm not going to do it at all, right? I can't have control over it if I can't do it perfectly. So I'd rather just do what I know I can do and just not even initiate what I know is not going to execute perfectly. So I remember this showed up for myself a few years ago when I told I think it was like during COVID, because, everything was shut down and even the gym I owned was like, it was really hard to get workouts. And so I was like, I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to get outside and And I was like, I'm going to do it every day. I had this big vision, big plan. But instead of like taking a quick 15-minute loop, say I only have 15 minutes or whatever, I made up this whole thing like, oh, my workout walking pants aren't clean, so I can't walk. My playlist isn't set. I can't walk. I don't have my podcast episode that I want to listen to queued up. The weather is really crappy right now. It might rain at any moment. Like I shouldn't go out. Oh, I don't have a water bottle with me. I didn't put a time block in today. So if I'm not scheduled in, then I'm not going to go for it. I had all these excuses that I would tell myself. And so anytime that life got messy, I would use these self-sabotaging excuses really because it wouldn't have been perfect. And so I built up the scenario that something was impossible when really I just needed to change the paradigm or change, what could work for myself. And so a lot of times the promises we break are because we want it to be perfect and we don't want to settle for a partial or because it doesn't feel like it's doing something. When in reality, every little bit helps, and every time you follow through with promises you make to yourself, you're more likely to keep following through. So those are the big 3 ways that we can really make it harder on ourselves. Conditioned to prioritize others. We don't want to disappoint people, but we don't treat ourselves the same. And we like to wait for the perfect timing or energy. Now, let's be real about all of this. It's easy to acknowledge and be aware about these feelings or these mindsets and be like, oh my gosh, I am like that. But it's just as important to realize it's something you do, not who you are. And I feel like when we can categorize it like that, like, oh, these are just behaviors I'm engaging in, it's not who I am, we can really reframe our behaviors into, I'm going to change it to something new, as opposed to, I'm lazy, I'm flaky, I'm undisciplined, whatever adjective you want to give yourself. It's less identity based and more behavioral based. Now, if you're navigating old programming, your body's going to want to do what it knows best. So whatever is the least passive resistance, whatever feels easy, familiar, is going to want to be its default. So it's going to protect you from the discomfort of change. It's going to protect you from the discomfort of trying something new and all these unknown variables. And so it's important to know that that's going to happen. And it will even translate when that discomfort is with yourself. So not only with other people, but it's going to be with yourself as well. So I want to offer you a quick reframe here. So what if the promises that you make to yourself are just as sacred as the ones you make to others? So I want us to embody that reframe this week. And so I want you to practice by trying something just really, really small, like laughably small, these little micro shifts. So for example, instead of saying or thinking to yourself, I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes, maybe it's, I'm going to take 3 deep breaths before I open up Instagram or whatever social media app you like to mindlessly scroll. Guilty myself. So that's a micro shift we can make. Another one is, instead of saying I'm quitting sugar forever, right? That's not going to be a likely scenario, right? There's sugar in everything, and also it's pleasurable, so why not? Maybe instead we reframe it with, before I automatically go there or just deprive myself, I'm going to sit and pause and sit with it and see if this is actually something I want to eat or not. Is this something I want to do or not? So just giving yourself the space to make it an intentional choice is going to be so much more impactful than doing these like hard black and white, yes or no, perfectionism, containers that we can put ourselves in. So those are examples of tweaks that I want you to try to make this week. So again, we're treating the promises we make to others just as sacred for ourselves. So just trying these small things. And it's not about doing everything perfectly. There may be things that shift or things you can't do, but it's just about initiating change and being open to it. And it's about showing your system, about showing your nervous system, about showing your heart, your mind, your intuition, like, hey, we matter too. Okay. The energy that we exert and passion that we exert for others, that is also available to us. We can mirror that back onto ourselves, and we're worthy of receiving it. So that's why it's important to just try and do. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what we're doing is we're reconditioning the body to make our own needs just as important as those around us, or those that we loved. And the more you honor these micro boundaries, if you will, the easier it is going to be when you start getting those big boundaries in place, those ones that feel like life or death, big boundaries or big shaking moves. So, right, we practice with the small ones, with the low risk, if you will. Okay. So when the big life ones come, so much easier. And, that's not fluff. It's not, or we're just not really practicing. Yes, we are. We're literally rewiring our system. So it is totally beneficial for you. In closing, I want to just say, if you've been listening and you can really relate to what I'm saying today, if you're really taking a lot of, talking points and you can relate to creating boundaries with yourself or maybe not extending the grace to yourself that you would give to others, if you felt like, this episode was more of like a soul mirror, like, ooh, how do you know me, Vicky? And I don't really know you, but you're describing me to a T. I just want you to know you're not alone. Okay? These are things that I have felt. These are things that I see reflected back to me through my clients, through everyone who's ever engaged with my content. Know that you're not alone. Okay? You're not unique in feeling these things. So it's important to say them out loud. It's important to share them, right? It takes some of the shame away from them. And most importantly, know you're not broken if you do engage in these self-sabotaging behaviors. It's okay to acknowledge, what past behaviors are and make the decision to make different choices in the future. And keeping promises to ourselves, it takes practice, it takes support, it takes deep self-compassion. And it's exactly the work that I do inside my LEAP coaching program. It's where we rewrite our relationship with boundaries, with our self-worth, and with our sacred yes. So if you're nodding along and you're like, Vicky, yes, I need this kind of support in my life right now, then I want you to check the show notes. I want you to check the comments. I want you to reach out to me directly and we can have a conversation if the LEAP coaching program or even my tarot membership would be the next right step for you. And if you're not quite ready for it, that's okay. We can have a discussion about that. But if you're getting a lot from this podcast and you're getting a lot from engaging with me either in your inbox or through my social media feed, I want you to just send me a direct message. Maybe you're not ready for a coaching program, but I do want you to connect with me on Instagram at vicky.pittman.coach. And I want you to tag me. I want you to tell me your story. And especially with any of the one tiny promises you're going to be keeping for yourself. I want to celebrate you. I want to acknowledge you. I want to witness you. And there is a lot of power and magic in being witnessed by somebody, especially someone who has your best interest at heart. Like, I don't even know you, but I already love you. The fact that you're listening to this, the fact that you've listened this far, I can already tell that we could probably be besties. And not that you're required to be my bestie, although, taking applications. I want to honor your journey. I know it's a sacred one. I know it's a precious one. And I want to cheer you on. I want to give you that sacred hype energy that you so deserve. Okay. Every little step, it's worth cheering. And I want to be there for you. All right. So if the coaching program, the deep support is what you're looking for, we can go there. If you just want to be acknowledged in a micro way, that's cool too. Just hit me up on Instagram, DM me, or send me an email, make a comment below wherever you're watching or hearing this podcast. I want to celebrate and acknowledge you. All right. So until next time, I want you to protect your magic, honor your yes, and be so damn proud of how you're learning and showing up for you. And as always, love yourself like you mean it. Bye for now.